and I'm excited about talking about your favorite books. Because,
Yeah.
we've been putting up some great blog posts, so people need to go to underthecouchbooks.com and check out all the blog posts that are available as you post a new blog every week that also provides resources. But we want to talk about your favorite books. So, what would you like to talk about today?
Well, I love them all equally, but these books are all based on the stories I used to tell my sons when they were young. And, it's about the adventures they go on. So I want to talk about Crystals today, which is book 10 of the 12 books in the series. And I like this book a lot because when I started writing these stories, I was hearkening back to what I used to tell my sons, and they really loved when I talked about giants. And I thought, oh, I want to write a book that one of the 12, because it's so hard to pick, with the topics and narrow it down. But I said, really want to write about giants. And at the same time, I thought I would incorporate my fascination with pyramids. So I thought, wouldn't it be great to have this book that is about giants and pyramids? And when I was thinking about where do they go on this fun yet dangerous adventure, I was thinking, where could they have pyramids and giants? And kind of took a little bit of my, inspiration from the ancient lands of Lemuria and Atlantis. That, people are like, are they real? Are they mythical? And, Atlantis, Plato used to write about. So I incorporated them all into this book, which I'm kind of excited about.
Absolutely. And I love giants. And the reason is because I'm a giant myself. People don't get to see someone, I'm 6'10". People
Oh,
don't
you
get to see,
are.
yeah, people don't get to see someone like me when I walk around. And it's so funny the days of Zoom now where no one knows my height unless they look at pictures of me on social media. Uh, that somebody that you don't see every day is really interesting and mythical creatures for sure. But when you think about giants, what do you think about when you think about giants?
Well, I think you think about Jack and the Beanstalk and angry or mean and for this book, I didn't want to make them mean. I wanted to make them highly intelligent. These giants are, they can communicate with each other telepathically. They have flying cars, so they're very advanced and very intelligent, but also they were very kind to the two boys. So I wanted to not make them mean or scary, but make them, really fun and very intelligent.
Because when they're fun and intelligent, that intrigues people because they're not used to that. They always make giants dumb or angry
Or
and mean.
dumb, right, right, right. And so I wanted to do it differently. And in this case, they do help the boys. They don't do things for the boys though. For example, as you know from reading them, when they have to get back to find their door to get home, they help them. They give them the resources and the tools, but they say, we can't do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. But yeah, so I'm fascinated with giants, and I had no idea that you were that tall, and I think that's amazing. I'm a giant wannabe, being a petite female, so but I figured, look, I write these for the reluctant reader, and I write these for really the 8 to 10-year-old child, and I thought, so I think through what would they find fascinating. And I think that not only, being able to be in a flying car with the giant, but actually being able to see some of the things that they can see in this setting. So when they go on the adventure, I thought of it like what ancient Atlantis could have been, right? With the crystals, like the pyramids on the crystalline grids, the crystal thing in the sky. I mean, that's how they got their energy, but also I used the monoliths from Easter Island, which some people think were part of Lemuria once upon a time. Who knows? But I thought I would combine a couple of those aspects into this really cool place that they go to with these giants.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're able to intertwine these things and being able to have the characters interact with giants and be able to, probably because they were scared at first, and to build to see what they can help and what not, because they're still intimidating, right? But you have to be able to speak their language. And that's one thing that, in Under the Couch, people learn to speak to other people with that are different backgrounds, different things, and learn from them.
And it's in the two characters in the books, the 7-year-old and the 10-year-old, they adapt very quickly because they do run into different scenarios. They do run into different types of beings, and they adapt very quickly, especially the young one who just tends to be a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more adventurous. They, very quickly latched on and became friends with the giants. But they also, the giants got to teach them a little bit. Like he helped the little one up. They got to climb the walls of the pyramid, which I know you can't do today. We were able to do it when we went to Chichen Itza in Mexico. We were able to, back in the day, climb. So they were able to do that and go inside. And, who knows exactly how they were built, but in this book, use the imagination to say, how could they have been built? And in this case, it was, these wise old giants who, were able to change the really, really heavy blocks into something lighter and then be able to lift them up. So just kind of fun to say, because everybody wants to know who built them, how were they built, why are they all over the world, how is it possible? So just being able to bring a little bit of that mystique to this book.
Yeah, the mystique's huge because how to become mysterious in so many ways. And what do you think you gained most from writing this book?
For me, it's there's a couple of themes that I like to put into these books, like learning lessons that are, great ways for kids to learn in a way that's absolutely fun for them at the same time. So for me, it was, with having the giants be able to move these rocks with their minds, it's really the power of your mind. That you can do anything you put your mind to is kind of the message there. And I also liked being able to communicate a little bit about the crystals and the energy, just kind of that, because I do think that there's something there, and that was fun. I know a lot of people are in crystals, and I'm a wannabe, but in this case, we have the nanny who is they think is a little different, but she's into crystals, and so there was that connection there where they were able to see these huge giant crystals and see how they were being used, and they were able to kind of associate that and connect it back to the nanny.
Exactly. Uh, and that's what's happening. And you have other favorite books as well. And we'll talk about those in another podcast. But what do you think the overall underlying theme of this book is you're talking about? And then also, specifically enough, the lessons learned
Well,
without giving it away. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a great question. So in Crystals, book 10, I believe it's about really using your imagination and being open to anything. Like there are some really cool, mysterious things happening in our world, whether it is like the pyramids, whether it's the monoliths, whether it's were there ever giants, could there ever be flying cars? So just, being able to not only embrace the giants and differences, but also be able to have your mind open to the possibilities. I mean, we've come so far in our world right now with AI in the past, how many, 5 years, 10 years? So, thinking about the possibilities and what could be and what is happening with all these big ancient structures around our world, and just really being open to learning about our history and what could be in our future.
Because our history is definitely something. And I love the fact of mindset in this book because, again, you talk about the woo woo, but ultimately, at the end of the day, as you, as a successful leader, running major big companies, I think that if you didn't have the mindset that you could do it, you wouldn't be able to do it.
I think that's very true. And this is, if you put your mind to it, there's so much that you can accomplish. If you have an open mind and you really just embrace the possibilities, imagine what could be accomplished.
All right. Underthecouchbooks.com. Appreciate it, Susan. And we will
Thank you
talk
so much.
soon. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show on the